Hey YouTube, it's Justin here, aka Demonic Sweaters. Today I've got a video about these cymbals here that you heard in the intro. These are some vintage Camber hi-hat cymbals, 14-inch hi-hat cymbals, as well as a vintage Camber 20-inch ride cymbal. These are all brass cymbals. Maybe you don't know anything about the company Camber. They are kind of mysterious. There are several iterations of Camber, but this series with this type of logo was actually the earliest ones that I've ever seen. And these were actually produced by Meinl in Germany back in the, I guess, late 60s, early 70s, or throughout the 70s. And then in the 1980s, they became Camber 2. They had a red logo, and you would see a number 2 in like Roman numeral next to it. These are all brass. Did I mention that already? And, you know, you can find these for insanely cheap. I've had several pair of... Well, actually, I think this is only the second pair of Camber hi-hats that I've had, but I've had several other Camber cymbals in my drumming history over the years. And in fact, I think the very first hi-hats I ever had and ride cymbal when I was a kid were Camber hi-hat. Well, definitely the hi-hats. The ride cymbal I might have had Zildjian. I think that was the first ride cymbal I had. But the hi-hats, the first ones I ever had were Camber 2s. You know, anyway, I picked these up just recently because I was looking for something that had a totally different sound than what I've been playing lately. And these are brass, like I said, and these particular ones I got are quite thin, and whoever had them before wrote the grams down on the inside, which is nice. The top hi-hat is 674 grams, and the bottom hi-hat is 840 grams, so those are some pretty light hi-hats, and I think they sound really nice. For brass hi-hats, you know, I don't really care. You know, if they sound good, they sound good. And I think they sound really good. They're very dark and kind of trashy sounding. And the same goes for the ride. The ride cymbal is actually very, like, breathy sounding. And let me see if this one has the grams written on it as well. I can't remember. So let's pull that off. This one is pretty thin, too. No, they didn't write it on there. But if I were to guess, I would say it's under 2,000 grams. It's definitely a pretty light ride cymbal. And the only thing that's kind of weird with this cymbal is the hole is actually a little bit too small for the modern plastic, you know, sleeves that go on there. It was made for, you know, an older type of cymbal stand. And it'll, you know, it sits on top of it okay, but it's just a little bit wonky because it doesn't quite go over that sleeve. I'll probably have to get a different, thinner sleeve to put on there, and maybe even just use a different stand when I use this one. Or just use it like this. I don't really care. I mean, it seems to work. But anyway, yeah, those are the Cambers. Cambers are, you know, you can pick them up for super cheap if you want to get some cool, interesting sounding cymbals. You know, look for the old ones. The Camber 2s also can have some pretty interesting sounds as well. But I think that these original, older, like black label Cambers are probably the best ones in my opinion. In the crashes, they can be pretty dull. I had a Camber crash of this same era, and actually I gave it to one of my students. So as you can see, I'm not using Camber crashes here. I'm using two Sabian. This is a B8X Ballistic Crash 18. And this is a B8X Thin Crash that I basically turned into a Ballistic Crash by rehammering it here. And I think these pair very nicely with these cymbals because these are kind of dark and trashy sounding. And everything's just kind of dark and trashy sounding. So I'm going to play to a song. You guys can hear what these things sound like in some of my weird-ass music. All right, so after playing them through the song, I've got to do something about the ride, because at one point it was like, it basically was like that. If it gets on the plastic thingy like the wrong way, it can be at a weird angle. So I think I'll probably just drill it out. You know, I don't think it'll matter that much. Just make the hole like a little bit bigger. I think I have a drill bit that I can do that with, just so it'll fit down over top of a, you know, a modern cymbal sleeve. But I thought it sounded really good, and the hi-hats too. It's crazy how much these two sound the same. This thin crash, I mean, they are the same size, you know, but before I hammered it, it really didn't sound anything like that. I'll have to listen back when I mix it. Maybe they'll sound a little bit more different. But in the headphones, they sounded almost identical. They were just coming out of different ears, basically. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, bell icon, blah, 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 blah. Check out my link down below to Anthill Recordings, which is my record label, and this song will be there at some point. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.